Take a deep breath. In those few seconds, your heart has beat about 8 times. Your heart will beat about 5,000 times in an hour, 100,000 times a day, 3 million times in a month, 36 million times in a year, and 2.5 billion times during the average lifespan of 70 years. Your heart is a small cardiac muscle about the size of 2 hands held together. It pumps about 2,000 gallons of oxygenated blood throughout your body each day. Though it is small, no person can live without a heartbeat, and 2 minutes without a pulse will cause irreversible brain damage. So we've decided that if we couldn't fail, we would take life-saving cardiology across borders.
Heart disease is the leading cause of death for people living in the United States. Every 60 seconds, someone will die from a problem that is heart disease related. And about every 34 seconds, someone will die from acute myocardial infarctions, or heart attacks. About 720,000 people die from heart attacks every year, and this number is nearly doubled in Latin American countries. According to the Inner Heart Program, in countries such as Argentina, Brazil, and Guatemala, 48% of people are at some risk of developing a cardiovascular disease, and many of these diseases go undiagnosed. These untreated cases of heart diseases are due to the general lack of cardiologists and cardiovascular surgeons in Latin America. These citizens are at much greater risk of developing heart problems than the average American citizen, and are often malnourished and undereducated of how best to prevent heart disease.
Obesity is a huge problem around the world. Obese people are more likely to have high blood sugar, high cholesterol, diabetes, and hypertension. All of these can lead to heart disease and eventually death. By 2030, 50% of men and 60% of females will be obese. If these numbers were correlated to our community, then 381,432 people in Cobb County alone would be considered obese, all from a lack of proper nutrition and a common sedentary lifestyle.
Citizens are more likely to smoke when they're below the poverty line, and in Central to South America, these numbers can range from 16 to 26% of the overall population. These statistics then correlate to the fact that 26% of people below the poverty line tend to smoke. Smoking excessively increases blood pressure, the risk for blood to clot, and the risk of coronary heart disease. Smoking is also one of the most preventable sources of heart problems. The population only needs to be educated on the dangers of cigarette smoke. Unfortunately, this proper education is not given to Latin American citizens, and the cycle of smoking leading to heart disease is showing no signs of stopping. So, what could a high schooler like one of us do to change this? Well, we're both sophomores at the Kennesaw Mountain Magnet Program, and every day we are prepared for a high-level scientific career, such as one in cardiology. Through the Cobb County Magnet Program, we are able to take AP-level classes like AP Chemistry, Advanced DNA and Genetics, Honors Anatomy, and so many more. We are preparing now for our next step of medical school and on our journey to become possible cardiac surgeons.
As well as taking high-level science and math classes, we have both decided to focus on learning Spanish. Estamos en la clase de Español 4 y queremos ir a la clase de Español AP en el próximo año. We are both in Spanish 4 and we plan on continuing with the language to take AP Spanish next year. As future doctors, we both find it very important to have basic communication skills with all of our patients. But if we knew that the risk would pay off, why not go on to the next step and use this education we have worked hard on and have been blessed with to help people in Latin America who haven't been given the same opportunities that we have? If we chose to play it safe and practice only in the United States, we would almost certainly be guaranteed a well-paying job at a medical school. We could easily forget our many years of Spanish and never look back.
But that's the thing about risks. They take you out of your comfort zone. If Latin American death rates were applied to this room, about 6, maybe even 7 of you would have died of heart failure since we began this talk. If Kristen and I simply graduated in the country of Guatemala rather than here in the US in the class of 2018, we would walk out knowing that 1/3 of our closest friends, teammates, peers, and fellow classmates would die prematurely of a preventable heart disease. The problem is that in real life, outside of this stage, there's a huge chance that we would fail. Perhaps we might not be accepted when trying to educate Latin Americans about the dangers of smoking. Economically, a cardiac lab might fall through and we would never make a profit. We might move down to Latin America and forget what on earth the differences between the grammatical indicative and subjunctive Spanish tenses are. But if we knew we couldn't fail, language wouldn't be a barrier, and we would use our basic and advanced cardiac knowledge to save so many Latin American lives. And I know that we have enough heart to beat those odds. Thank you.